Hey there, my fellow lunatics. Dakon the Mad here, and today I am bringing you a poison build. Now, I would consider this build to be kind of on the low end of a mid-tier build. You definitely need to have gotten past the Great Wall, so you're past the early game, as most of the items in here are acquired either in the Azios' Wilderness, the Desert of Beginnings, or in the Sunken Sea. But at the same time, this isn't really a higher end build, as there are a few bosses that this build cannot take on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gear for this. As you can see, it is a lower end build. We're starting off with the Iron Helm here, and the main reason why I've chosen the Iron Helm is actually because of a ring that I've chosen. The Iron Helm gives me a 4.8% boost to damage, and there is a better helm that can be put in this slot, but it's the God-Sent Helmet, and that is a difficult item to find. It's in the Desert of Beginnings. You have to get it in a temple, and you've got to do a bunch of stuff. It's a bit of a pain. The Iron Helm will also work just as well, and it's much easier to get, as you can simply just craft it at the Iron Anvil. Like I said, the main reason we're getting this Iron Helm is because of the Samhain Curse Ring. The Samhain Curse Ring gives me a boost to my chance to apply poison, which is the main point of this build, but it does give me a damage reduction. I'm losing 3.8% damage. So the 4.8% that I'm gaining from the Iron Helm makes up for the loss that I'm taking for the Samhain Ring here. For our armor, we also have the Ivy's Thorn Harness for the chest piece, as well as Ivy's Pants for the legs. Both of these are acquired by defeating Ivy in the Azios' Wilderness. She's the purple slime boss. The big benefit for wearing these, besides the critical hit damage boost, is the set bonus, which gives you an extra critical hit chance after you successfully apply poison. And we've got the Polished Copper Cross Necklace. This is just for boosts to critical hit chance and critical hit damage. This can be crafted at the jewelry crafting workbench, but you're going to need to have a 100 crafting skill to be able to get the polished version of it. Then we've also got the Polished Golden Spike Ring. This is the exact same kind of thing. You get this at the jewelry workbench. You can craft it. Again, you're going to have 100 crafting skill in order to be able to get the polished version. The Thorns is there, but the Thorns is just an extra bonus. It's really not the point of any of it. The critical hit chance and the critical hit damage is what you're going for. I'm also wearing Morpha's Bubble Bag. Now, there's a good chance you may not have this at first, but with this build, you can defeat Morpha. So if you don't have the Bubble Bag right away, once you get the other items, you can go defeat Morpha and get your hands on the Bubble Bag. So this has a 20 inventory slot thing, just like the Octarine Bag, and you could wear the Octarine Bag as well. That'll give you some glow, as the set does not provide you with any kind of glow. The mining damage is the big thing for Morpha's Bubble Bag. That mining damage will boost your general damage overall and make this build stronger. But you can just as easily have the Octarine Bag equipped. I've chosen the Concealed Blade here to give me an extra 12% crit chance because I really want to boost up my crit chance. That's what really makes this build flow really well. And this is acquired in the Desert of Beginnings by killing the assassins. And I know that the assassins are a little difficult sometimes, especially earlier on. But you can also get the Concealed Blade by breaking dungeon chests within the Desert of Beginnings. So if you find any of those various chests and destructible wooden crates out there, you can break those to also get the Concealed Blade if you have to run away from the assassins instead of actually fight them. If you don't want to use the Concealed Blade, I recommend the Toxic Defender. It also has the chance to apply poison, but it's not going to stack with your other apply poisons, because this one gives you a chance to apply poison when you block melee hits. So you have to use the shield and block with it. I'm not very good at using the shield and blocking, so I don't really use this very much. That's why I switched to the concealed blade. However, if you like shields, if you're good at blocking, then the Toxic Defender is a perfectly viable choice and much easier to get your hands on earlier on in the game than the concealed blade is. The Toxic Defender drops off of Ivy as well, just like the Thorns and the Harness do. Finally, we have the Poisonous Sickle. This is the weapon that the entire build revolves around. It has a 28% chance to apply poison. Now we are raising that to a 34% chance to apply poison with the Sawwind Curse Ring. And whenever it does apply poison, because of my Ivy's Pants, I get a 25% boost to my critical hit. And in addition, there are some skills that cause this to synergize even better. So let's go ahead and switch over to the skill tree and take a look at what we're actually going to need. The important part of the poison build when it comes to the skill tree is in the gardening side. So you're going to want to have your gardening skill maxed out. The poison-coated weapons gives you a 25% chance to apply poison on hit. This is really important because this takes our poison apply chance and jacks it up to a 59% chance to apply poison. You really need the poison-coated weapons for this build. Unfortunately, it also means you have to get the bottomless water can, which is the most useless skill. But when you're not in combat, you can always switch back so that you have Expert Gardener again, because you do have to sacrifice Expert Gardener for this build. So you are going to need to keep some ancient coins on hand to switch back and forth whenever you need to. Additionally, Potent Poison increases your damage against poison targets by 25%. So this one is very important as well because you are going to poison your target, and that's going to give you a massive damage boost. And on top of that, you've got a massive critical hit chance boost, which with that damage boost will cause those crits to be even bigger. Unfortunately, you do also have to sacrifice Thorny Weapons, which improves your critical hit damage. However, we've already managed to get our critical hit damage up to about 220%, which isn't that bad. You can get it higher, but this doesn't hurt. So let's take a look at other skills that you need. In the mining tree, the Efficient Excavation, which improves your mining damage by 10%, and the Miner's Strength, which takes 10% of your mining damage and adds it to your melee damage. That's going to improve your overall damage as well. So you're going to want it to have 5 points in Miner's Strength also. In the running tree, you're going to want to have Keeping Tempo, which gives you a 15% damage boost after moving for a short period of time. Just move back and forth a little bit when you first start the fight, and that'll get you that damage boost. And as you're fighting, you're going to be shifting and moving around anyway as the battle continues on. So you're always going to be moving just a little bit, and that'll keep this ability up. It's also not a bad idea for you to take Escape Artist if you can. That will reduce your snare and stun durations by up to 50%. And this is an excellent way during traveling around in the various biomes to not just get stuck when you are having to deal with the various creatures, as well as some of the other boss fights, which can cause some snare or stun issues for you. Since this is a melee build, you're going to want to put in as much into your melee skill as you can. When you're fighting bosses, I recommend Strength of the Ancients. However, if you're just roaming around the wilds, you can remove Strength of the Ancients and replace it with Seething Blade to give you a chance to actually get some heal over time, which will help you while you're roaming around in the desert or in the Sunken Sea or one of the various areas. On the crafting tree, you're going to need Jewelry Crafter in order to get the polished versions of the rings and necklaces that are designed for this build. So you're going to want to max out your crafting. I recommend just making a whole lot of wooden bridges. Check out my video on how to make a wood farm, and that will get you more than enough wood to be able to get you to max out your crafting skill. On the ranged side, Amplified Precision will boost your critical hit damage by 40%. This will improve your melee critical hit damage as well. So this is definitely a skill that you're going to want to take if you've got your ranged ability maxed out also. In the running tree, the Steady Feet skill will help you when you are fighting Morpha, but Otherwise, it's fine. It's not the best skill. However, it does give you access to Power of Omega-3, which gives you an increased damage against bosses after you eat cooked fish. And all of our food has fish in it. So this is very useful when fighting the bosses. Finally, there are several things in the cooking tree which can be beneficial to us. The Healthy Diet ability, which increases our well-fed buffs by 100%. The Smell of Food, which gives you an additional 20% damage. Long-Lasting Food, which increases the duration of your food buffs. And Master Chef, which gives you additional chances for you to get rare or even epic food. And that epic food can make a huge difference. Speaking of food, I think it's time we take a closer look at the food we're going to use in this build. Our first piece of food here is the Vampiristic Pepper Wrap. This gives us a movement speed boost, a melee attack speed boost, and a life on a melee hit. It's made with the Vampire Eel. The Vampire Eel can be fished up in the clay caverns. It is also made with the Golden Bomb Pepper. Here is the rare version, and here is the epic version. You can notice that the life on melee hit does not change between the rare and the epic version. Next, we have got the Verdant Tropic Smoothie. This is made with the Verdant Dragonfish. The Verdant Dragonfish can be found in the lava sections of the Molten Quarry subbiome, which is in the Desert of Beginnings. Fortunately, actually, 3 of the fish that we need for our various food recipes are found by fishing in lava. So just go fish in lava and you'll be able to get 3 out of the 5 fish that you need for all of this food. In addition to the Verdant Dragonfish, this smoothie needs the Golden Pine Grapple in order to get you access to the epic version. So here's what the rare version looks like. It gives us a melee damage boost, a melee attack speed boost, and a critical hit boost, as well as immune to burning. And then this is the epic version. It's also worth noting that I do have all of my foods here in the order that they should be eaten in. And the reason for this is because some of these foods do stack in the abilities that they give. For example, the Vampiristic Pepper Wrap gives a 3.8% boost to melee attack speed, and the Verdant Tropic Smoothie gives a 4.6% boost to melee attack speed for a much, much longer duration. If I eat the Verdant Tropic Smoothie first, and then I eat the Vampiristic Pepper Wrap, the 3.8 melee attack speed for 1 minute is going to overwrite the 4.6% melee attack speed for 6.5 minutes. So I need to eat the Pepper Wrap first, and then I eat the Tropic Smoothie so that the better attack speed overwrites it. That's also the reason why I also have the Rare Stone Dip Snack at the very end, because it provides the best health every second, and that's a 9.8 health every second. So the next item that we have is our Elder Mold Cheese. This provides us with a reduction of damage from bosses. It also increases the amount of damage we do to bosses and gives us a critical hit chance boost. This is made by fishing up the Tornus Kingfish. This can be fished up in the desert biome, in the normal water within the desert. So not the lava, but the regular water in the desert biome. As well as you can get this with the Golden Pafungi. Here is the rare version of the cheese. And here is the epic version of the cheese. Next we have the Dark Lump Soup. This gives us a boost to our mining damage, which will in turn boost our overall damage. It also gives us a boost to mining speed, as well as a life on melee hit. The mining speed really isn't going to matter much for us, as that doesn't translate to attack speed, but the life on melee hit and the mining damage will be very useful. You could get this with the Dark Lava Eater. This is another fish that is acquired from fishing in the lava, as well as the Golden Grumpkin. The Grumpkin can be acquired from the Samhain goodie bags during the Halloween event. Here's what the rare version of the soup looks like, and here is the epic version of the soup. And then last but not least, we have our Royal Stone Dip Snack. This gives us a knockback chance, a boost to our armor, health every few seconds, as well as a damage boost. You get this with the elder dragonfish, which you fish up in lava, as well as the golden carrack. Here is the rare version, and here is the epic version. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roam around the biomes a little bit so you can see what this build does and what it looks like, just being in the Desert of Beginning as well as being in the Sunken Sea and its general survivability. And then I'm also going to go ahead and fight some bosses, just so that you can see what this can do to certain boss fights. I'm not going to fight every boss. I already know right now from some testing that I did, this build does not work well on Omeroth, and it does not work well on Igneous. I was not able to defeat either one of those bosses with this build. Morpha was challenging, and it killed me a couple of times, but eventually I was able to beat Morpha with this build. However, every other boss that I fought, this build pretty much tore them apart. So let's go ahead and take a look. I do apologize that this build does not have any glow in it, so the screen will be a little dark sometimes. So for those of you who are watching this on a mobile device, again, I apologize. I'll try to stay in the light as much as possible. Surprisingly, even though this build is unable to defeat Omeroth and Igneous, it does just fine on Raw Car, if you can kill him quick enough that you don't get overwhelmed by the bomb scarabs. And so here it is, folks. This is my poison build design. Excellent for a wide range of bosses and getting you around in the early point of the mid game, but you're eventually going to want to replace this with a more powerful crit based build or thorns based build, as eventually this weapon just gets outclassed by some of the better weapons in the desert biome. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time visiting my channel, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Did I miss anything for this build that you think would be very useful for it? Please be sure to leave a comment down below. And until next time, stay crazy.